I'm not sure how I got, I don't know why I'm talking about anxiety unless I'm really good at it. I've had a lot of experience with being anxious, and so I've tried to figure out different ways of how to deal with that. So I hope those lights don't flush that out too much. So go ahead and let's do the practical thing first. So you can see I spared all expense and got this picture here. And so I'm going to teach you how to breathe, okay? Because a lot of times, believe it or not, this little exercise does help people dealing with anxiety. So let's just go through this exercise real quickly. Okay, this is the behavioral thing for the evening. So we're going to breathe in through our nose for 4 seconds. So then we're going to hold it in our chest for 4 seconds, and then we're going to blow out for 4 seconds, kind of like a cleansing breath that you remember from Lamaze classes and things like that. So, but don't blow towards your neighbor. Blow straight ahead. Don't share that. So, ready? Here we go. And we're going to do it for 4 seconds. So, in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in the chest. 4. And then release. Now, try it again. This next time, when you release, just feel all the tension kind of just going out of your shoulders, just all the way down, and just feel that relaxing that happens when that happens. So ready, one more time. Through the nose, 4. Okay, and in the chest, 4. And out. Okay. I've worked with a lot of kids over the years, and a lot of times, we have a lot of kids that, teachers will say, oh, do something with this kid. There's a problem with this kid. We think they have ADHD. And a lot of times, ADHD that we see in kids is really anxiety. Kids are very anxious about things. And so a lot of times, and believe it or not, that little thing does help. There was this little guy who was about 6. One time I was working with him for a long time, and his teacher wrote me a note and said, what is he doing? He stops and he goes, but his behavior's better. And I said, good. So you know how you get a kid to remember to do that? It's let the 4s be with you. So you can remember that. So let the 4s be with you. So really breathing. If you notice when you're really tense and when you really get anxious about something, you'll notice that you're short of breath, you're doing a lot of mouth breathing, you're tense, you may not even be breathing, you may be holding your breath. If you just remember to breathe diaphragmatically is what that's called. So you're breathing through the diaphragm and out. If you remember to do that, that becomes much more relaxing for you. And so hopefully now we're just really relaxed as we go into this. So let's see the next slide. Hopefully you can see this okay. You've got to figure out where this anxiety thing comes from. And really it starts up here with stress. And then it goes to fear. And I'm going to throw one in here on you, worry. So worry is a big key for us that we'll talk a lot about tonight. Then that certainly can go over here to anxiety, and we'll discuss that a bit. And then a whole other topic, and I was here a couple years ago when we talked on depression, but really, if we follow this through, this is, for a lot of people, this is where situational depression comes from. It comes through this cycle. And so let's put some glossary terms to this. Stress, any external stimulus that the brain interprets beyond the steady state. So right now, we're in the steady state. Something stressful occurs, we have a reaction. And that's something that's inborn in us. We have that reaction. And so when that reaction occurs, now it becomes what are we going to do with that reaction? And the next thing that happens is fear. That's the short-term response produced by the brain and the body in response to stress. So fear really is one of the primary emotions. Fear is very, very primary in our lives. And so next we see negative worry. I'm going to emphasize that negative worry. This is a chain. That's really important that we see worry becomes very systematic, and we continue to worry through a process. A chain of negative thoughts and images, notice they're negative, that represent an attempt to engage in mental problem solving on an issue whose outcome is uncertain but contains the possibility of one or more negative outcomes. So worry, we know that, we do that a lot. no doubt. But what happens is, what we have to see is that it can be a very negative side to worry because it just kind of builds this pattern. It's also known as what-if thinking. Well, what if that happened? What if that happened? What if? We could get all the what-ifs in the world, and we can drive ourselves crazy with worry. Let's see, the next one is anxiety. That's where we're getting to. It's a sense of apprehension that shares many of the same symptoms as fear and worry, but builds more slowly and lingers longer, often debilitating from daily function. So anxiety, if we think about this in this pattern, we've got fear, then we've got worry, and then we've got anxiety. And of course, the beginning of it all is stress. And so what happens is in this pattern, as we get deeper and deeper, and if we allow that worry to run thicker and thicker in our lives, then what happens is we do get the anxiety disorders, and we do have a tremendous amount of problem. Most of us, this is what I believe anyway, most of us stop around worry. Some of us go clinically all the way to anxiety, but most of us stop around worry, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Let's see, one more, and then it's depression, prolonged sadness that results in blunting of emotions and a sense of futility, often more serious when accompanied with an anxiety disorder. And as I said, that's a whole different subject that we could talk about. But certainly that's one of the other things that we notice a lot, that these things run what we call comorbidly. In other words, one thing runs right alongside another. So if you have anxiety, a lot of times depression is right with it. And they're very, very synonymous, and they do a lot of the same things brain function-wise that really throws us off. And so we get in this state where we have a disorder.